Hello everybody, Jonathan Fox here, and this is episode 4 of the Real Talk Real Estate Show. Are you on the fence thinking about buying something? Maybe you're renting? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to explain to you how you're missing a tremendous opportunity, maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if you don't buy right now.
Washington, D.C. real estate. Fiercely competitive and always changing. Where people from all corners of the world come to make their mark. So on this show, we get real. Real about what actually matters. Where I show you what's behind the curtain. And you get a new perspective. Because having the knowledge and insight means the difference between winning and losing. Welcome to Real Talk Real Estate.
Thanks for checking in. On this episode, again, I'm going to explain to you why you're making a huge mistake sitting on the fence. I'll jump right in. Number one, our market, the DC metro market, was just recently ranked number 6th most expensive rental market in the country, which is only good news because we used to be number 4, which we dropped recently because rents have flatlined to a degree. But at the end of the day, our rent in DC is incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. And it's something that if you look at the data, over 25% of people spend 50 or more percent of their total monthly income on their rent alone. In the average one-bedroom apartment, this might shock some of you, maybe not for others that are renting, averages nearly $2,100 a month. That's tremendously expensive. And just think about the possibilities if you were to roll $2,100 or more dollars a month into a mortgage and what could happen. So it's reason number one. Rents are too high, not to make a joke, but number two, other investment strategies right now have completely flatlined. If you look at the bond market, the federal interest rate is effectively 0, meaning that right now, if you were to take your cash and stick it into a savings account, maybe buy some bonds, whatever the traditional investing strategies have been, those strategies right now are letting you down. I mean that to say, if you were to take your money and put it into the bank, the cost of living is actually outpacing right now what the return would be on your investment. So your money sitting in a savings account right now is losing buying power. It's literally bleeding opportunity just on a day-to-day basis, which that's not sound investing on any level. So it's another reason right now that you need to look at other alternatives. In real estate right now is performing on average over the last 8 years, prices have consistently gone up. I mean, the stock market has too, but that's a roller coaster. I mean, some days you're up, some days you're down, but in strong resale markets like we have in Washington, D.C., the cost of living has continuously risen over the last 8 years. Well, guess what? People that own property in that 8-year period right now are making money. So if you've been on the sidelines, renting something, not getting into the game, you have lost money again, and especially if your money's in a savings account. So that's reason number 2 right there. I'll say this, rents, as we can prove, always go up over time. I can pull out graphs, charts, whatever you want to prove that. Rents always go up over time. Well, guess what? Lock in a 30-year fixed mortgage, your payment doesn't go up. If the cost of living rises in DC 10% over the next couple years, your payment won't go up by 10%. Your payment's going to stay the exact same amount once you lock in that 30-year fixed rate or any fixed mortgage product rate, 15-year, 30, it doesn't matter. It's always going to remain the same. So there's a tremendous amount of stability that I can argue for all of us right now that are looking for something that we can rely on. Rather than getting your renewal notice that's 5% higher, because it's coming, you could just lock in that rate right now. You don't have to move. There's costs involved to that, but you can also keep a payment right where you are. And you can keep it there for as long as you want, which is a huge selling point. But that segues into my next point. Listen, interest rates right now are somewhere in the low to mid 3% range. I mean, historically, that's like mind-blowing. That's the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity thing I'm talking about. Listen, I just got done talking about Fed rates being so cheap that the bond market's trash. Well, guess what the implication is? Interest rates are super cheap. They're giving away money right now. You can't really go lower than we are just to get people into buying houses. And that's been an initiative that's been going on for many years now. But right now we're seeing a temporary dip. I mean, we have Brexit going on. The world economy is very unstable. Well, right now, we're doing everything we can to keep our rates low so people feel confident in our markets. Well, guess what? A 30-year fixed mortgage under 3.5% is not going to happen in my lifetime, probably ever again. So right now, locking in that rate has tremendous advantages. And I'll say this, when I started my career in 2004, I was coached by old timers, people that said when rates were 6%, and this is 2004, in a boom market, interest rates were 6%, and people said, that's incredible, that's a historically great rate. It sure beat what was going on in the 80s when rates were 15+%, maybe in our parents' lifetime, or whatever the case is. So again, 3.5% or less in a mortgage. I mean, that's incredible. And there's a couple programs for all those people that think, I don't have the money, I can't get together the down payment, I can't get together the necessary closing costs that I would have to do because homeownership is so expensive. I mean, rent seems easier at first because you just make your first payment and you're in. Well, guess what? There are two programs, the Home Possible and Home Ready programs, right now, today, that for 3%, you can get a conventional loan, 3%, and you can borrow up to $417,000. And if there's a condo fee, that's fine, as long as you qualify. There are no income restrictions required. And so you can utilize those two programs, and for 3% plus your closing costs, which if we structure an offer correctly, we can get paid for by the seller, we can get you into the property for 3%. And that way you lock in that historically low interest rate. That way you're able to keep your payment the exact same for the duration you're in the property. And for those who say that, hey, I might leave in 3 or 4 years, well, guess what? Rental markets in DC are excellent. So maybe at that point, you don't have to sell. You can keep that investment locked in at that low rate and just become a landlord and proceed paying off the property. So the cost of entry right now is 3%. Oh my gosh, 3%, it's incredible. And if you take another step further, all you need, if you're on a W-2 and if you earn an income on a W-2, we just need 30 days, 2 paychecks to get you qualified if you have like a 630 credit score or better. So I'm not plugging mortgages right now. I'm just saying they have lowered the barriers left and right, whichever way they can. Credit score, income, interest rates, down payment requirements. These are all things that our parents' generation did not have available. If you didn't have 20% down, stellar credit, and a ton of job and income past, you weren't going to be a homeowner. But today that's all shifted. So if you're still on the fence, if you're thinking this may not be the right time, I argue otherwise. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to lock in an incredible rate, become a homeowner, and reap all of the financial benefits that come with that. And I leave you with this question. Where else is your money performing? If it's not in the savings account, if it's not in the stock market, I would take a hard look at real estate to start building your wealth today. So that's where I want to leave it for this episode. This is just a quick one that I wanted to make an appeal that you are wasting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if you don't get into the game. So submit your questions, get with us. This has been episode 4, and we look forward to hearing back from you and answering your questions on this program. Thanks.